Thank you guys for coming. If you could silence your phones, if you have them, that would be great. We've got a Zoom audience as well as in person. And I'm pleased to bring you today our last artist in residence of 2025. Before we introduce her and get started, I'd like to do a land acknowledgement. I'd like to thank the Friends of Sheldon Jackson Museum, private donors, the National Endowment for the Arts, and the Maxwell Hanrahan Foundation, and other funders for supporting this program. And we would like to acknowledge and express our appreciation to the Indigenous people of Tlingit who have occupied this land for longer than any of us can imagine. And after 250 years of colonization in Alaska, are graciously allowing us to share this amazing land with them. Thank you. So today we have Shanaske Lillian Jackson. She's Tlingit and Koyukon Athabascan, Tekwedi from Yakutat. She's mother of 2 and sibling of 5 brothers and sisters. She learned to bead from her grandmother and mother and uses her skills to create both traditional and contemporary artwork using beads and other natural materials. She will be talking a lot about that in today's presentation. And she is here through the 11th of October. She'll be teaching a beading class, multi-part beading class, which is full, but we have a wait list of people who want to sign up. And I'm Jackie Fernandez-Hamburg, the curator of the museum. Thanks for attending.
Hello. First, I'm going to introduce myself in Tlingit. Shanatske, Yuchat Duasa, Chakna Chatsati, Tekwedi, Ayachat, Kane Kwanyaki, Hoots Hit, Da, Yakda, Yakda Kath, and Ruby Dahya. My Tlingit name is Shanatske. I am from the Eagle Moiety Brown Bear clan. My dad is Raven, and he is from Yakutat, Alaska. And my mom is from the interior Alaska. She is from Ruby and lived much of her life in Galena. So we'll go ahead and get started. I call my my little beading business, it's known as High Tide Gems. In 2003 and 2004, we moved up to the interior of Alaska from Yakutat. My mom was a PA for their rural clinic. She has been a locum physician all over Alaska, and we moved to Galena to be near my grandmother. Her name is Lillian Pitka Olin. It was then that she taught me how to bead, and you can see those pink glove tops. Those were my very first beading project where this is something her and I worked on together. My grandmother was very frugal and saved everything. She taught my sisters how to make picture frames. I have one of them right here. She used upholstery fabric. She used tabs from soda cans to hang her pictures up. She really just saved everything. And that's something that really stuck with me and my mom in the work that we create. You'll see there's a picture of me as a baby. I'm wearing a shirt that my grandmother actually made, and I believe she made it out of a pillowcase and some lace. And then I saved that for my daughter. And her wearing that in the picture, she said she feels very fancy. So that was a very special. The same year I moved to Galena, I took an Athabascan studies class, and that little keychain was my first solo project. That took me 3 months to make. I worked on it every day in class, and it took me so long that I wasn't sure if beading was for me at first. It was challenging for me. But I stuck with it. In high school, my sisters, these are my sisters pictured, Violet and Star. they taught me how to make fringe earrings, and that's a pair I made in high school, shown right there. There are many, many days we've spent in my parents' house just sitting around the table and beading together. Even yesterday, we were all in Anchorage together. My dad is in the hospital, and we were in the waiting room. We've been there all day, and all of us just working on our beads. It's what we do, and whenever we have free time. I carry my little beading bag everywhere with me, in my backpack, in my purse, and whenever I have time, I just sit down and start beading. So I mentioned my mom was a PA. In 2016, I started working in healthcare. I am very thankful for that opportunity. I got to work with my mom. She trained me, and everything I know in my job was because of her, and even more so being a medical assistant and a first responder really shaped who I am today, and really taught me compassion to care for the people in our community. Yakutat is a small town. And I really, really fell in love with working and caring for our elders. These are the same elders that taught me how to sing and dance, how they helped me sew my regalia together. These are the elders that I listened to tell Tlingit stories at culture camp, and held Tlingit class. And my parents used to make me go in high school. I did not want to go, but I'm so thankful that they made me go. But many years of working in healthcare, it didn't take very long for me to burn out. The hardest part of that job was learning to say goodbye to all these elders that I spent so much time caring for, and being there in their final days, and just making sure that they know they're not alone, and that they're loved and cared for, and done so with respect. So it became a very, very hard job for me, and I started to struggle mentally, and I really did not know how to come out of that. And it wasn't until 3 years ago that I really started focusing on my mental health. I started therapy, I started exercising, and I really dove into beading. And when my mental health improved, it was really amazing for my creativity. I just had so many ideas all at once, and I wanted to do things that hadn't been done before. I started seeing beading patterns in everything I looked at, and seeing color inspiration everywhere I went. And it was really all I thought about. Sometimes I would just sit there all day and just focus on my beadwork. And that same year, I did my first earring sale on social media. I was so nervous. I was just pacing around my house, posting things one after another. And then before I knew it, an hour had gone by and I had sold every piece. And that was very thrilling. It was very exciting. And after that, I was hooked. I couldn't wait to start on the next project and the next one. it really, really, really did wonders for my mental health. Learning to create things with my hands. And yeah, so it wasn't long after my first earring sale, I started high tide gems. And I chose this name because while it is during low tide that we find all the beautiful treasures on the beach, it's the high tide that brings it to us. And when I first started, I really focused on involving precious gemstones in my beadwork, and I really believed in highlighting all of the qualities that each gemstone has, you know. One of my favorites was amethyst. It is known to help ease stress, and I thought that was my very biggest one, like these ones.
I think we all do.
Yeah. So yeah, I really I wanted my creations to have purpose also, not just to be beautiful, but to also have meaning behind them. And then I learned how to work with resin, and I started, my daughter and I, we would go out and pick flowers. Sometimes she would come in from playing outside and I found these flowers. Can you make earrings with them? So we spent a lot of time working on these together. You can see her helping me clean sockeye eggs, and we turned those into earrings. So that's the top right corner. Those are dried out sockeye eggs and resin. And I have used a lot of wildflowers, plants, all true to Alaska. And when I make them or when I have sales for these, I try to keep them true to season. The pot you'll see on the bottom, those are herring egg inspired earrings. Very big deal if you are in Southeast Alaska. That means spring is here, and such a delicacy for us Southeast natives. So those are actually some of my most popular earrings, are the herring egg inspired earrings. They're not real herring eggs. They're little mini pearls that I've worked with, mixed with different kinds and different shades of mica powder to give it just that herring egg look. I spent a lot of time trying to make sure it has just the right look. I think I timed myself from beginning to end, setting them in resin, and it took about 8 hours from harvesting to mixing the colors and to setting it, and then beading around them. And one of the things that my parents taught me was that when we are creating things with our hands, we have to put good energy into what we're making, because that energy will stay with it. So I like to think that's why it helped my mental health so much, because I wanted to make sure that each one of my pieces were made with love and thought and to send them out into the world with good energy. And also like I said, like my grandmother, I really am, I try my hardest to be resourceful and frugal. There have been times where I have had just the exact amount of beads needed to make a pair of earrings, and it's because I save everything. You know, if I have beads scattered on the table, I'm gonna sweep them all up, and I'll take my time sorting them later. So I work really hard to just focus on all the details, and each piece is made with intention. So that's really all I have for my slideshow. I really, for my pieces that are not in resin or are not on gemstones, I try to stay true to Tlingit and Athabascan floral designs. I just started working with traditional seaweed patterns. I'm very excited for that.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, and just very, very inspired by things I've seen in this museum that are very, they have been around for a very long time. And these are some of my favorite pieces that I've made. I really try to do a little bit of everything. If I see some funky shaped hoops, then I'm gonna figure out a way to put beads on them. If I see, any kind of stones or beads, I just, especially if they haven't been done before, I'm gonna find a way. Yeah, I really, really love the idea of things being one of a kind, and I actually have kind of a rule or standard that I set for myself, that things I make are one of a kind, and I don't duplicate things. If I make something, it's that one piece, it's one of a kind. So I don't believe I have very many things that I have repeated. So that's all I have. Thank you for listening and sharing your time with me. Yes.
I was wondering about traditional Tlingit beads. I imagine that they're all found items and they were processed somehow. I mean, the stones and shell were made a certain size or reduced to a certain size.
I think they received them through trade. I'm not 100% certain, but I think that's how, but I do know, yeah, there are,
Well, that makes more sense.
I've seen, bones, or like, I have a piece right here. These are ivory, that I've been sanded down and did beadwork, but I've seen, some where they turn them into bone or beads. And I don't have a piece here, but I also use porcupine quills in my beadwork. Yeah, I thought I had a pair.
Are those porcupine quills in common with?
Yes, let me see if I can show you.
These ones are porcupine quills, all of these have lilies and reasons and
Have any stories? How do you get those ones?
They did come from the interior. They were gifted to my mom, who gifted them to me. And she gave them to me in a big pickle jar. They still have the hair. There's bits of hair in the jar. The quills still have dried blood on them. So it is pretty time consuming you have to kind of meticulously grab each one, stab it in something, because the tips are barbed. They will get stuck in your skin, and that they don't come out very easily. So very careful to make sure you don't lose any bits that you cut, and then cleaning them. Some people soak them. I found that if I just give them a good cleaning, then I'll just wipe them down and they're fine.
Where do you use here?
That is rabbit fur. I have used, beaver fur. I've used, yeah, sea otter. I'm not as skilled yet in sewing with fur. I wish I had a picture of my mom's beadwork. She makes moccasins. Every time I see her, she's working on a new pair. So she's a very good sewing skin. Yep, yep. She'll just whip them out and gosh, I've seen her whip them out in less than a week. Yeah. So that's what I have. I do have,
What are you gonna be making with your group of people this next couple weeks? You're gonna let them create whatever they want, or you
I have
together?
a little abalone bead like this. Yeah, and we're just gonna work our way around that. I have I brought my entire bead supply with me, so they get their choice of color. I have rhinestone banding. I do like to add a little bit of flashiness to some of them. And you know, depending on how it goes, I can add different levels of difficulty to them.
Right.
I can make them more engaging. I can make it
Yeah.
easier. So yeah. And then on Saturday we'll be teaching a kids class, and I have quill earrings that I have prepared for them.
Let's see if we have any comments or questions from the Zoom audience.
Yeah.
Let's check the chat. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put it in the chat.
Oh, there's
Let's see, might be the AI.
okay.
Hi. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming. And,
Yeah, thank you for coming.
stop by and visit with Lillian if you can before she leaves, and
Mhm.
have a wonderful day.
Now, we thought we looked at your beautiful work. Are you gonna be doing some display during the times while the museum is going, or?
Yeah, while I'm here, I'll have, I'm slowly working on more. These are some of the seaweed designs that I was talking about.
Oh, the seaweed, yeah,